That morning, as I awoke from peculiar and remarkable dreams, I felt rather mechanical, stressed and restrained like some kind of robot, programmed to get up and go to work. It was kind of reassuring. I heard a voice in my head telling me what to do, like a director orders his actors to act. Maybe this is what it was. My life had become a real drama. But I didn't mind. I like to follow orders. After all, I assume I'm the passive and receiving kind. I was looking forward to driving my car and listening to the voice of my new onboard computer. There was something about the reassuring, soft, and friendly voice of that computer that gave me comfort. I was becoming more and more addicted to it, just like a man gets addicted to a woman. I was on automatic. Smoothly, I let myself float with the soft engine of the car and the hypnotic voice of the computer. It was a cocoon. There was nothing that could bother or upset me. What a feeling. As always, the trip to work was too short. I didn't feel like stepping out yet and going into the office. I was still a bit too tranquilized. As if I were high, the voice even gave me goosebumps. I didn't feel like talking about the weather in the office. To be honest, I wasn't interested in the problems of my colleagues. I had my own. And besides, being in my car was so much better. The voice in me, we had no problems. It was zen, pure zen. And fun. Pure fun. I wondered who the woman behind the voice of the onboard computer was. Who was she? How old was she? What did she look like? What was her history and what were her problems? All the time she'd go on talking and talking, but I, for one, would like to talk to her, so she could be silent for a while and listen. It would be a strange feeling, talking to a woman again. I wanted to enjoy the timelessness of the voice a bit longer. So I went back to the traffic jam that I normally escape by leaving early. It gave me a thrill to listen to a voice that only served to point out the way to me. Nothing more. No opinions, no comments, no discussions. Once there, I enjoyed standing still. The car stood still. Even time stood still. And even her voice was still, as if there was a special silence between the two of us. But then something strange happened. I hadn't changed my final destination, and yet the voice gave me different directions. What had happened? A technical problem or a fault in the system? I thought I misunderstood, but it was clearly the same voice. Maybe I was so tired and heard things that weren't there. Regardless, I had to leave the freeway just like she said. No, I was right. This was no dream or technical problem. I didn't have a clue how to respond to it, so I followed the strange order she gave me. Instead of telling me to leave the freeway, she ordered me to leave my house, my belongings, and my world of complaining about the memories of my wife and kids. Instead, she ordered me to take the secondary road to freedom and a new life. When I was off the freeway, she kept going and told me not to go left or right, but to go to the office and quit. Don't go back to your starting point, she explained. Apparently, the distance to my final destination was no longer measured in miles, but in years. It was 19 years. This little trip was beginning to get on my nerves. What began as an innocent trip to work was turning into a nightmare. Sure, it was fun and relaxing in the beginning, but now my whole life was involved, and that was certainly less relaxing. The voice no longer told me where I was going. It simply told me where my future and the rest of my life were going. Calculated not in miles, but in years, months, and even days. She foresaw everything. Ultimately, my second wife would betray me, I would lose a large sum of money, I would get sick, and in the end I would, just like every human being, die. The only thing about it was, I didn't ask about it. I didn't want to know. Not yet. Not now. I didn't dare to stop, so I just drove on the whole day. It didn't matter where I was going as long as I kept moving. At the same time, it was intriguing to listen and know how my future would evolve. By the end of the afternoon, I was told I had to watch out not for the usual freeway workers or traffic jams, but for a long, life-disturbing disease. The question was not who was playing the sick game with me. The question was, who was I fooling? And the answer was, myself. I could go on the rest of the evening, but I wouldn't get to my final destination, certainly not this evening. It made no sense to run and flee. I would reach my final destination in 19 years, 3 months, and 14 days. But I was fed up. That goddamn voice made me puke. Who was she to tell me how my life would be? Who was she to draw a map of the road of my life? I was the one steering and driving the car, or not. Wasn't I? I wouldn't let that monster win. It was my life. I was the boss. I had the control over it. And if I had to lose, it would happen my way. It was my way or the highway. In the end, I settled for a small victory in a big defeat.